All right, welcome back to Light the Fuse, the only Mission Impossible podcast that is still going through these troubled times. That's all I can really say, Charles. You know, we're in the middle of this coronavirus pandemic. We're both feeling good, pretty good. I don't know how. Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, I feel okay. I mean, obviously, very sad about the world and what's going on, but I think we will prevail. We'll get through it. And my thoughts and prayers go out for everybody out there who's struggling with this and people who are on the front lines dealing with it.
Yeah, it's terrible, and we're very depressed, but we're still doing this show for you people to give you a little silver lining. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully, this comes out after this is over, but I don't think it will. And we're so excited about who we have today, but we wanted to get through a few things before we jump into the interview. Charles, you had some things to bring up?
A few people pointed out to us that there's another Tom Cruise sequel that we severely overlooked. Because, I mean, we were talking about, Tom Cruise doesn't do sequels. Then we pointed out, well, he
Jack
did
Reacher?
Yes. We forgot about Jack Reacher. So we had forgotten about Color of Money, which is technically a sequel, and then we had forgotten about Jack Reacher as well. So that was quite a few people messaged us to let us know, hey, you forgot about Jack Reacher. So thank you for letting us know that we forgot about that.
I rewatched the first Jack Reacher recently, and I gotta say, great movie.
Yeah, I've been wanting to rewatch that. I saw that you were watching it. I wanna check it out again. I remember that car chase in the middle being so freaking good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was Brian De Palma did an interview I think it was the AP, and he was asked, and I think the quote that there was a few different movie news websites ran with was, their headline was about, Brian De Palma didn't think that sequels were necessary for Mission Impossible or whatever, which was also kind of, that quote was taken out of context. Yes, he was saying he didn't want to do any sequels. He didn't see any reason for there to be sequels. But to me, the thing that was more interesting in that article was he says that the pinnacle of his career was Carlito's Way and Mission Impossible, where he was at the height of his powers and he had like the studio resources and could do basically whatever he wanted and was able to make those movies. And I tend to agree. I mean, I think Blowout is his best movie probably, but I mean, he really was, with the budgets and everything that he had for Carlito's Way and Mission Impossible, those are probably my two favorite movies of his.
I would not disagree. I mean, I think that is definitely the time when he had sort of everything going for him. He had the full weight of the studio behind him. He had unlimited resources. He had movie stars. And I wish that period was still going. Although I still watch all of his movies. Have you seen Domino yet, Charles?
No, I haven't.
Okay. He's sort of disowned it, but I still liked it a lot. So anyway, De Palma, keep doing what you're doing, please.
Yeah. All right, so I guess we should jump into this interview. I wanted to give a little disclaimer. Drew's dog Nova was causing trouble underneath the table while we were talking to David James, so we were not able to cut out. There are a couple of times where Drew has to plead with Nova and to be quiet. we it's just in there, and you're just gonna have to hear it, and that's just it is what it is.
Yeah.
And also this interview, we kind of jump right in. David's telling us a story about Nicholas Roeg and how I think he's telling us Nicholas Roeg basically got him into being a stills photographer on the movie The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Yes, David James. We haven't said who David James is, but he is a photographer. He did how many movies? 4 of the Mission Impossible movies?
Yeah, he did 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Pretty impressive. And this was kind of a surprise how lovely this conversation was, but he has so many great stories, and we don't want to ruin anything, but we get into a lot of stuff here, and we'll be back after the interview to kind of wrap things up.
I started at MGM when I was 16 years old. I knew what movies wanted. I knew what movie publicists and producers wanted. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what magazines wanted.
Right.
So I thought, okay, Superstar had a one-man exhibition, book, and Kodak's put on the exhibition in London. They came the idea then that I would go and work for magazines.
Okay.
So I The Telegraph magazine in London did huge spreads, and the guy said, yes, absolutely. Come and the money's not good. He said, I don't give a shit. Just give me some projects. I said, only no movies.
Right.
I want to do other stuff. So I went to Mexico. I photographed a guy who rode with Pancho Villa, and I photographed him outside a building where he and Pancho Villa hung 6 priests.
Wow.
I went to follow the gold trails of British Columbia, which are bigger than the Yukon strikes.
Wow.
And I did lots of stories, but then I thought, okay, now where do I go? I did some calendars, I did some fashion, and then I decided I was going to be a producer-director.
Okay.
So I joined another director who had a commercials company. I started doing producing commercials. I did like 60 odd commercials for Marlboro. I spent 6 months in Hong Kong writing silly scripts for cigarettes. And then I produced a film. I was an English producer for a German film, shooting up in Blackburn. The last week of that movie, Nick Rogue called me. He said, David, what the hell are you doing? I said, I'm producing a movie. He says, no, you're not. You're a line producer. Other people are producing the movie. What's it going to do for you? He said, look, I'm going to New Mexico end of next week. Dust off your cameras. Come with me. I said, what's the film? He said, David Bowie. He said, it's a weird movie, but come. I want you. So I phoned up a friend of mine. I said, can you come and take over this thing for me? So it's only 3 days left to shoot. So another guy came up, took it over for me. It was the next thing I knew, I was on the plane to New Mexico.
Wow.
It was the most awesome experience ever.
Now I have to get it.
I mean, it was stuff with Bowie and getting that close and knowing Bowie.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you've had a long-standing relationship with Tom Cruise primarily, right?
Yes.
So what was the first thing that you worked on with him?
Believe it or not, Legend.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yes. And that was when I was saying I was actually doing a shoot for the Telegraph Colour Supplement. My shoot was on Tim Curry as the devil.
Okay.
And I was there to cover Tim's whole makeup thing. And while I was there, Tom was shooting a scene with the unicorn. And Ridley, who I knew, because I did Black Rain with him.
Oh, right.
Ridley said, David, while you're here, get some pictures of this young man, Tom Cruise. He's going places. And I thought, okay. So I did. A couple of days. I shot, mostly Tim, but shot some of Tom as well. And it wasn't until we were doing, I think, one of the missions, we were talking about how many movies we'd done together. And I said, you know I was on Legend. He said, you're kidding me. I said, yep. I remember you as a little boy.
Wow.
So how many Mission movies have you shot?
3. I did part of 3.
Okay.
Because I was actually in I think it was Australia somewhere. I was doing Batman or something out there.
Okay.
And I got a call saying that we are parting company with our unit guy in Los Angeles. We're going to Shanghai. Will you please come and join us?
Okay.
So I had to fly. I said, look, I need a couple of days turnaround. So I had to fly back from Australia to LA, then turn around and go to Shanghai.
Wow.
So I arrived in Shanghai. All I was doing was specials. They had an Australian still photographer out covering that stuff. So just the unit stuff. So I just went out and did specials.
Wow.
And I loved it. I mean, I was shocked.
What are specials? What is that?
Specials mean is you go out with specific things to shoot. My thing was to get all the cast together, get the cast with and without JJ, get singles of the cast, get doubles also.
There's a picture of the team.
Yes.
And I think it might be in Shanghai. Did you? I'm going to pull up this picture. I want to see if you did this picture. There's a picture of the MI3 team.
Right. It might well have been me. We actually shot it on a ruined site. They were knocking buildings down around us.
Right. And I think that kind of screwed up. Is this you?
That's me.
We use this all the time. we post this picture all the time.
Yeah.
We turned it into like a Christmas card. We did Christmas cards from each of the IMF teams and stuff like that. Yeah. It's a joke every year.
That was mine.
That's amazing.
On social media and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And then I went on to do The others, 2.
So is this you also?
Yes, that's me
So
as
Ghost
well.
Protocol,
yeah.
then?
Yeah.
That's a great.
Is this at the Santa Monica Airport?
This was at Santa Monica Airport.
Yeah.
And the story behind that picture was that we were shooting there for half a day, and then I said, okay, I have to get these shots. I had one of the advertising guys from BLT with me, so we got the golf cart, and I was tracking in front of the golf cart and had them all following.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow, okay.
Until the art director started, he was sitting over on my left shoulder, and suddenly I'm not sure. I had guys walking with reflectors, right?
Oh,
and these guys go, flash, flash, flash. And I turned around and I said, stop this right now. So Tom and the actors just stood there, and I turned to this guy and said, I have guys with reflectors there. Why are you shooting? Firstly, why are you shooting over my shoulder? And secondly, why are you shooting flash? You don't know nothing? So I said, I'm sorry, Tom and other guys, let's go back to point 1 and we'll do it again. I said, I put that thing away.
Was this Scott Chambliss that you were yelling at?
Or no?
Okay.
Or was it,
I
no,
don't remember who it was.
Okay.
Art director is. We're trying to get him on the show. It's,
Yes, okay.
But he wasn't an art director on the show. He was from the agency.
Okay.
No, he wasn't. No, that I wouldn't know.
Okay.
I didn't even know this guy had a camera with him.
Okay. Well, so let's go back in time. Sorry. Let's continue with MI3. So you went to Shanghai and you shot specials. So you got that great group photo.
Yeah.
And anything else that you remember from MI3 or any stories?
Well, I know. I went back. We did the photo sessions, and then they were ahead of schedule. So the actors started all leaving, and I said I want to go back and shoot some plates of that background. I went back. 3 days later, it had gone. That whole site was flat.
Wow.
I love Shanghai. So I love the tradition of Shanghai. I love the old part. We used to go to a restaurant on the top of a tower, which is apparently for centuries the press of, well, not centuries, but the press's favourite hangout. It was like the press club, but it was a restaurant and the wonderful food. But then this whole new city going up, but the worst thing, pollution. You couldn't see the Yangtze for the yellow smog. It was horrible.
Right.
But no, it's a very short trip. I mean, I was amazed. I think it was they finished a week before they should have done.
Which is not something you hear about on these movies.
Yeah. It seems like MI3 was the one that was the smoothest production and
it was incredible.
Yeah.
It was Paula Wagner. She was the main producer.
Yeah.
Then the phone call I got from Paula was like, I'd never had a phone call like that in my life. And she was on the set. I was in Australia. She was on the set at Paramount in LA. And she said, David, Tom will bear witness to this. I'm begging you. I'm actually right now physically on my knees begging you to come and do this for us. I said, well, how could I not? Yes, of course I'll be there. Maybe jet lag, but I'll be there.
Yeah. That's awesome.
No, they were also, and Tom was awesome because I had, while I was there, I said, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that with you. And he was as good as gold. We shot and shot. But my first real film with him was a Minority Report. The first one I shot all the way through.
Love that movie.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, what was that like? You before we started recording, you were sort of telling us about how great Spielberg is.
Yeah,
do you mind telling us about that again?
Yeah, when I did, having shot Tom a few days on Legend, which for me was like 2 days, I didn't know him. So I started making, which I normally do anyway, making phone calls to other photographers who work with him. And guys were saying, oh, he's so into what he's doing on the set. He won't pose for things. You have to grab what you can grab. Right. So I thought, okay. So I went to Stephen and said, look, I hear that it's going to be tough to get good pictures. And Stephen is so into the selling tool of photographs. Mm-hmm. But I said, we're going to have to train him. So he said, okay, how do you want to do it? If you call for set up a still on the Spielberg movie, Stephen would direct it. He won't walk away. He won't leave you with the actors on your own. He
Wow.
will direct the scene as if he was making a take.
Yeah.
And then he'll suggest different angles, and you'll suggest different angles. And I've actually had a scene I shot on stills, and then we went back and reshot it on movie because my angle's a bit better. But so what we did on the first days of Minority Report was, I would say, okay, Stephen, this one, right? And we would set up a still. Stephen would direct it. It would be beautiful. And I would then go up to the lab, and I'd come in the next day with a huge bus stop poster size print on metal-based paper. They look gorgeous.
Yeah.
Then, so maybe 3 or 4 from a day, Stephen and I would take them to Tom, and Stephen would give Tom a talk about the value of photos to sell a movie with. And from that moment on, Tom as good as gold.
Really?
Yeah. And if I've known situations where if you're not there, he'll say, "Where are you? Where's David? Where's David?" When we were doing Oblivion, the scene where he comes in that whole suit out of the explosion. It's a late, wet, miserable day on the back lot at Leavesden Studios in England, and it's horrendous. It's wet, cold, muddy. We had 2-3 cameras lined up. The only place for me to be, and the place I wanted to be, was under those lenses. So I was lying face down in the mud, my camera ready. And I'm literally, you know what English mud is like in the winter? Horrible. And Tom is there, he said, "David, before we go, where's David? Where's David James? Where's David James?" I said, "I'm down here, Tom." I said, "Pretty much where I normally am." And he looks down, he says, "Good boy." And then he does, and that was the first release picture for the movie. It was the first look shot.
Wow. That's amazing.
In the book you talk about, you were on Night and Day when he brought up the idea of coming back for Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, right?
Yeah.
That movie was an interesting shoot, right?
I didn't do the first half of that movie.
Oh, okay.
I was doing a Spielberg movie.
Right.
And so I took it over after Christmas. So when they rescheduled, so I didn't do all the Spanish stuff and the Boston stuff. I picked it up, a bit of the LA stuff, and then for me, the creme de la creme was on the beach in Jamaica.
Right.
And we ended the movie on that beach in Jamaica, and it was the same beach he shot Cocktail on.
Oh, I'm a big cocktail fan.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I wish I could swim bottles like that. I'm too respectful for my whiskey to even try. But I said to Tom, and I were walking off the beach together. We'd wrapped, everyone was done, and Tom stopped. There's no one else around us. He stopped. He said, "David, I'm going to do another mission, and I really don't want to do it without you there." And I stopped. I said, and I looked at him and I said, "Okay." I said, "But." Now I think I may be one of the only people who said "but" to Tom.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Movie, right?
Yeah.
And he said, and he looked at me and said, "But what?" I said, "I love that shot of you horizontal from Mission 1, but every time they mention another mission coming up, that same shot comes back. It's like you've never done anything else in any of the other missions except lie flat on the first one." And he looked at me and he said, "Oh my God, I never thought of it like that." He said, "So what do you want to do?" I said, "I haven't got a clue." I said, "But I'll figure something. We'll find something. Will you do it for me?" He said, "You got it. You got it. Wherever you see, you tell me." So we start the movie, and the first days we're in Dubai on the Burj Khalifa. The Burj Khalifa is the tallest man-made structure on this planet. And it's half a mile up from the base to the top. But then you can add another 8 feet with the aircraft warning lights on top, which there are 3 of. So I said, we're actually standing on one of the platforms where we've got all the rigging equipment, and Tom's going to do a practice climb. So I was standing next to him, and I look at and I nudge him. And I said, "Tom, I got 2 requests." I said, "Firstly, on this practice climb, you're going to go straight up, and on the 140 something floor, the window's out and it's right above your wires. So I'm going to be up there looking down. I want you about 20, 30 feet below me, look up and smile. And he said, okay. He said, what's the other one? I said, you know that picture we were talking about in Jamaica? And I pointed up, and he looked up, and he gave me a fist pump, and he said, you got it, we'll do it. Right. For me to have him on top, the top movie star in the world, on top of the tallest building in the world, was a phenomenal moment.
Yeah. That is one of my favorite parts of the book.
Unless somebody builds a taller building,
yeah,
they'll never ever do it again. You know?
Right.
That's done.
Whose idea was it to have his shoes off?
The production costume.
Okay. It adds so much to that shot.
Right? Originally, there was talk about putting him in his suit that he wears in the movie, and then so bad I've forgotten the name of the designer. Very famous, lovely man.
Michael Kaplan.
Thank you,
yes.
Michael Kaplan. Michael was at this meeting and he said, you know, if you put him up there, he'll look like David Wynn from Wynn Towers, who does this thing in Las Vegas, standing on top of a building in a blue suit. And I said, so he said, how about barefoot, pair of jeans and a t-shirt? I said, that's awesome. That is awesome.
That's so cool.
To this day, I have to thank Michael for that one.
Yeah, it's an amazing shot.
Yeah.
How nervous were you to do that? Because I love the anecdote in the book where you say we had to put a stunt guy up there to see how close we could get the helicopter. Because if they blew somebody off, they'd rather have the stunt guy.
There was one moment when Tom was up there. Mm-hmm. And we were so close with the helicopter that we actually put a shadow across him, and I saw his hair was going straight backwards. I said, so I was on the radio to Mark Wolf, our pilot. I said, Mark, you got back off a bit. I said, I want to see some background as well. You know?
Right.
And also, you just can't have Tom's hair going straight back like that.
Yeah.
But it was so we backed off, and he was up there for 40 minutes. And we had this thing that we had an assistant director saying, because Tom was up at 4:30 in the morning to do that shot. He had to go do his hair, makeup, all that stuff. And then he climbed in shorts and a singlet, because you get 250 floors of that building. You go up in different elevators.
Right.
When you get to the top, that tower, the great Stuber top, is 200 feet. And there's only one way up it, vertical climb inside. With rung ladder.
Right.
There's no circular staircase. You're in there, so they had to put a safety line down. Just, you know, there's no air conditioning in it, and it doesn't matter what time of the day. And I said also, because I'd done like 3 or 4 trips up in helicopters to check times of day to see the light. After 9:30, 10 o'clock, the desert, the wind picked up in the desert because of the temperature change, and you lost the background.
Right.
So it had to be by 9:30 latest to shoot it.
Right.
So I was at the airport. We were using a Royal helicopter. We'd taken the door off the side, big yellow helicopters. And I'm sitting and I get the call from the assistant director saying, he's up there. You can take off. So we take off.
Please.
And so we're getting out, we're flying around it, and I get a call saying, he said, he's not ready yet. We haven't got him safety lined in, and say, everything, you got to go away, come back. So we actually landed in, we was very fortunate, there was a parking lot right opposite Starbucks in the city. So we landed in the parking lot, got coffee, and went back. But all this time the rotors are running. You know, we can't shut it down, start it all up again.
Right.
So we get up there and we do the shoot, and there's one that I have this trick with actors that if the light is very, very bright in your eyes, and Elizabeth Taylor told me this trick, you shut your eyes and turn to that light or to the sun, whatever. You shut your eyes for 30, 40 seconds, and then you can turn back and you can open them wide, straight into any light. And it always works. So I've always told Tom, Tom with really bright light will start, like most of us, will squint. I said, Tom, turn, and the sun was on his left. So I said, turn to the left, shut your eyes, and I will give you the cue to turn back as we come in. And he's sitting there looking at it, and I thought, oh my God, it's Rodin the thinker. So I come over and notice, Tom, hold that position, give me Rodin. And he does, and that's still my favourite shot.
Right.
Is that profile of him. I mean, the Jay Leno shot that they used was looking down on him, which is awesome.
Right.
But that other one,
that was the poster and
huge
everything.
friggin' landscape. It's amazing.
Well, there's also a great anecdote where you tell him to do the big swing just for you. Like that.
There was equipment
in the way, so you told him to do it, and he did it again for you.
That was a different day.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yes, that one.
I think
Tom
it's this
had.
shot right here.
That's it. Yeah. Tom had to do
Wow.
a swing around open windows on the 140 something floor, and they hit they had 3 cameras in the window, and they only had a certain amount of safety harnesses, so you couldn't. There's no way I could get there.
Right.
I was not allowed near the edge. So it was health and safety people. Well, it's quite right. It's some very high building. So they said, "Okay, Tom, we got it. Bring him in." I said, "No, keep him out." And I was yelling. I said, "I'll tell him David James wants one." Right? And he said, comes back and said, "Okay, Tom says he'll rest at the end of the building. Tell him when David's ready." So they pull the cameras back. They harness me up. Then I hanging halfway out the window. I said, "Okay, ready now." And then I'm conscious of Tom running around the building and leaping off the other side on this rope, right? And he comes round, and I get 3 frames, and he's gone. And they said, "Yeah, I got it." And you know you've got it, right? So,
Right.
So that's how that shot worked. And it was just to get him like that was.
But it's amazing because it's not like Tom. He's goofing around out there, like he's in character.
When he's in character, he does it in character.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
It's not like a fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's amazing that he can like maintain that.
Oh,
intensity.
I know. The guy is awesome.
Yeah.
He is absolutely awesome. He can just turn it on and say, you know.
We've heard multiple people talk about this behind the scenes photo, and we wonder if you were the one that took it. McQuarrie, who else was in there? Bird
and Tommy Harper.
And Tommy Harper.
I don't know if it was Bird. It might have been Brian Burke.
In the hotel room of the Burj, trying to get pages out for the next scene for that whole.
No, that wasn't.
I think that was in Vancouver on set.
Oh, that was in Vancouver. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but supposedly it really epitomized what making these movies is in terms of.
It's that's the magic of the movies, and that's the magic of working with Tom. He's into every aspect of it.
Right.
You know, there's no part of it where he's not involved.
Right.
You know, and he's, if you come up with an idea, or can anyone, you come up with an idea, he'll go for it. He'll take it seriously, and he'll look at it, listen to it, and if it works, he'll do it.
Did you get to know McQuarrie during the Ghost Protocol?
I knew McQuarrie way before.
Oh, okay.
I knew him.
Do you want to talk about that?
As a screenwriter.
Okay.
Yeah, when we were doing second mission I did with him, McQuarrie was the writer.
Right.
Right, and he would come on the set all the time. And I can't remember where I'd met him before, but I'd met him before. He was lovely. He's a lovely guy.
Yeah.
And he's so relaxed. I mean,
It's weird. It's a little unnatural. for one of these.
Well, I think that's why he's able to handle this high pressure situation.
I mean, God knows,
making these movies.
God knows what he's like at home, but
Yeah.
on the set, he's amazing.
So after Ghost Protocol, you did Oblivion, which you talked about. Edge of Tomorrow.
I did Edge of Tomorrow. Oblivion, Edge of Tomorrow was awesome. I mean, on Edge of Tomorrow, Doug Liman, I love him. He's total crazy.
Yeah. Very intense. The opposite of McQuarrie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's a much quieter man. But then you can watch the cogs turning with him. You can't with McQuarrie.
Right.
McQuarrie will stand there silent and suddenly it'll all come out.
Right.
But with Doug, you can actually watch the cogs turning with him. He's an incredible guy. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we love that
Yeah.
movie, obviously.
Yeah.
The movie's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So Rogue Nation, what was that like?
That was pretty awesome.
Okay.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I would say it was one of those special moments in your life.
Why?
It's just with Tom, you are part of the team. It's not like I've worked with directors and actors where the still photographer's over there. It's like nothing to do with the creative thing. With Tom, everybody is, you're part of that big team. It's not his movie, or his movie. It's our movie. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's just like so special.
Right.
It really is.
Right. Obviously, you couldn't hang out of the plane on that one.
No, my daughter did that.
Really?
Yes. Well, I was born. I was born with a heart murmur.
Okay.
Right? It hasn't made any difference to my life except that for 35,000 feet, where it was, and low oxygen, high altitude, low oxygen halo thing, they wouldn't pass me anyway. So, and my daughter was shooting the movie with me.
Oh, this is Fallout.
Oh, this is Fallout. Sorry.
Fallout.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So let's stay with that for a minute. My daughter was shooting the movie with me.
Okay.
Because she's now still photographer, and I've nurtured her, and she's got it natural. She's just there. She's there. She's gonna be better than I am, or was. So they said, okay. I said to Tom that I can't do it. I would love to be up there, but I can't do it physically.
Right.
So I said, and on top of that, I'm going to retire. So they took Cheer Bella, and she did an awesome job. And bless her, she came out with one line, which she told me about later. They had the safety meetings, and she said, well, I'm going to be there shooting pictures. When they got the back of the plane open at that altitude, you're on the safety line. She says, supposing my safety line comes away and I fall out, what do I do? That is a really intelligent question. I think I would have never said that. I'd have said, well, it ain't going to fall out because I'm not going to let it.
Right.
But no, she was like, you've got your eye through the viewfinder and you walk forward and there's that moment that, is my safety line down? Or does it came out, or somebody, did something? And they said, that's a really intelligent question. What you do is you fall out the back of that plane, you spread your arms and legs out as far as you can get them, and you fall as flat as you can. We'll catch you up. And these are skydivers. And they said, don't worry about it. We will catch you up because we will come out head first in a dive. We will catch you up, and then your parachute will open because we'll have hold of you, and you'll be all right.
Wow.
Yeah, baby.
Not with a heart murmur. Not doing that.
Yeah, it's just like,
But cruise on the side of the plane in Rogue Nation, you didn't do anything for that?
No,
Okay.
I didn't. No, I didn't do that part.
Okay.
I was doing, when they started Rogue Nation, I was doing something else. I picked up the latter end of it.
Is this one you?
That is me, yes.
Oh,
That's me.
There's a great picture of Tom Cruise and Rebecca Ferguson, and you can see Sean Harris in the reflection from the very end of the movie.
Nice.
We'll obviously post all these pictures again.
Yes, we will.
For everybody to see.
Yeah, in fact,
That's
that was a friend of mine, Keith Hampshire, started the film off for me. He did stuff in Venice, Vienna.
Okay.
But the shot of him hanging on the side there, I think was shot by a guy who's now a still photographer, who when I first met him was Tom Standing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then he became a photographer in his own right.
Okay. Did you notice? I mean, was there a different vibe from Fallout to Rogue Nation, or in between Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation?
There's a different vibe. It depends who's directing, right? There's a different vibe on every movie.
Okay.
Every single movie. There's a different vibe almost every day, but
Even between like two McQuarrie Mission Impossible movies, there's a different sensation.
yeah, because on the second one, McQuarrie had a lot more confidence. I mean,
I think you can tell.
yeah, and you can tell exactly. The first one, he relied very much on Tom's input, and Tom knows absolutely what he wants, and he'll go for it. On the second one, McQuarrie, you could see McQuarrie's confidence has gone up
Right.
leaps and bounds. He was far more in control of the day-to-day piece of it. He was so good. I mean, and them as a team is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because
they
they're both-
do every movie together now.
Yeah. But they're both so creative,
Yeah.
and Tom is open to the ideas, and McQuarrie is open to listening to Tom's ideas. And that moment where he leaps the buildings, where he broke his ankle, I mean, that, if there was a bravery medal for an actor,
Yeah.
he'd get it.
Right.
Because when I was on that shot, Chia Bella, my daughter, was on the camera she was behind the camera on the roof where he lands.
Okay.
I was on a balcony I shared a balcony with 3 dead pigeons because nobody had been out there for 20 years. I had to get I found the place I wanted to be, where I saw the Thames and I saw the 2 buildings and I saw Tom do that. So I had to get the building security to bust out the windows so I could get out on that balcony, because no one's ever been out there. So they figured out why that balcony was there even, but yeah, it was with dead pigeons. So I shared that moment with them. But then I was there and I did that whole sequence, which I shot on a motor drive, a whole sequence of him, and where he hits that building, and you could see his face change when he hit it, right? And I don't know another actor or person who would be capable of doing this. He breaks his ankle, he climbs up, runs past that other camera, then falls into the stuntman's arms.
Right.
I mean, most other people would have stopped right there and then be hanging there.
Yeah.
Not him.
I'd be crap.
He finished the
Sure,
shot.
Yeah.
He actually finished
Yeah.
the shot.
It's amazing.
And equally, when we were in New Zealand doing the helicopter stuff and the fallout, whoa. And he slides down that. I would not hang under a helicopter and slide down a rope, even though I've got a safety line on, to catch a huge ball at the bottom at a couple of 1,000 feet. No, baby. But he does it. So he's an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah.
I think we all are around him because we're all with him and for him.
Right. And what we've heard from people too is it makes you seem like a really essential part, no matter who you are on the set.
Oh, yeah, you are part of the team. And it's our movie.
And you are inspired to be at that level that
Yes.
he's at, right?
Yeah. Yes, you are.
So that was the first part of David James, and what a thrill it was to get to talk to him.
Yeah, he's just so charming.
Yeah, he and Cruz have been through it, man. From what was the fantasy movie? Legend on. I mean, they've been sort of doing stuff together, so it's pretty amazing.
All these photos that we use in social media all the time on our Twitter and Instagram, they're photos that he took.
Yeah, the fact that we got to talk about the amazing shot at the top of the Burj was just a real thrill, because that is, we sort of sought him out after we looked at the book that came out, the kind of like pictorial book of Ghost Protocol, and hearing those stories and then hearing it from him, it's just really, really amazing. And I'm so glad we got to talk to him because he's retired now. So he will not be doing any more of these movies.
Yeah. And you got to come back next week because he talks about a lot of great stuff. He talks about more Fallout stuff. And he talks about working with Steven Spielberg on Schindler's List and amazing stuff that Steven Spielberg asked him to help. He even came up with a shot that ended up being an AI that Spielberg did a reshoot for. I mean, it's really, really great stories you got to come back for next week. Definitely worth it. And then even beyond that, I mean, we've been working hard on getting lots of interviews. You're going to be very happy about the many names that we have coming up. I can't remember who we've even announced yet, but and I don't even know if Drew and I have sorted out the order because we have so many names. We've got to figure out who's going to go when. And we also have our 100th episode coming up, which we're still working on something for, and we're hoping we can get something special for. A couple things in the works, and maybe hopefully at least one of them will work out.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited about everybody that we have coming up. And, you know, this is a really hard time for everyone. We totally understand that. If you have a couple extra dollars and want to contribute to our Patreon, that would be amazing. Or buying a shirt on our TeePublic store or anything, really. Just sharing this with people that might be more willing to do that stuff too is also super helpful. So we want to just thank everybody for listening, and we hope that we are bringing you a little fun and nonsense in this very depressing time. So just for Charles and myself, thank you so much for this. And we will be back next week with part 2 of David James, which is just as good. Trust us.
Oh, also, of course, this episode is brought to you by Jeremy Dillon, and it was mixed and edited by Luke Burson. So thank you to those guys. We couldn't do the show without them. Thanks again for listening, everyone. And before we go, another mission, should you choose to accept it. Please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. And remember that you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at LightTheFusePod and email us questions or comments at lightthefusepodcasts@gmail.com. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.